We expect our rock gods to play fast and loose in life, and maybe it shouldn't come as a shock when they go a bit too far. When late nights turn into early mornings and rock concerts turn into drug-fueled orgies, the bad choices tend to start flying. Here are just a few of the crazy things rock legends have done that they probably hoped you'd forget about. ZZ Top. Who knew that ZZ Top's Dusty Hill and Frank Beard met in a fake band built to cheat rock and roll fans out of their hard-earned cash? According to BuzzFeed, in the 60s, English rock group The Zombies had a hit stateside with their song Time of the Season, but were completely unaware of it. Back then, you could be in a band in Europe and not know you were famous in America. And by extension, you could be a band's fan in the USA and have no idea what your favorite musicians looked like. That's how Hill and Beard wound up touring America, playing in fake Zombies outfits with fake names, fake backstories, and real Zombies songs. Fans and the press eventually realized that the Zombies sounded an awful lot like bluegrassy boys from Texas, and the whole thing went belly up. Thankfully, Hill and Beard realized they had something special and started a band of their own. Derek and the Dominos. If you've ever heard Carly Simon's You're So Vain or John Lennon's Imagine, you've heard the work of drummer Jim Gordon. He even co-wrote Layla with Eric Clapton as members of Derek and the Dominos. Unfortunately, Gordon was a deeply troubled man. Voices in his head began as a child and only grew louder with age, according to a 1985 Rolling Stone article. He abused alcohol, drugs, and women in his attempt to shut out the voices, none of which worked. The voice of his mother eventually controlled his every move, and in 1983, he showed up at her apartment with a hammer and a knife. She didn't make it out alive. As of 2018, he remains in a psychiatric prison, convinced his mother is still alive. Eric Clapton. Among other racist comments, guitar god Eric Clapton spewed these repulsive words out at a 1976 Birmingham, England concert. "Stop Britain from becoming a black colony. Get the foreigners out. Keep Britain white. I used to be into dope, now I'm into racism. It's much heavier, man." Years later, Clapton claimed he was drunk when he went on the rant. In the biographical documentary Eric Clapton, Life in 12 Bars, the rock star said he was drinking a bottle of cognac for lunch those days, before snorting cocaine. At a Q&A following the premiere of the doc, he said, "I was so ashamed of who I was, a kind of semi-racist, which didn't make sense. Half of my friends were black. I dated a black woman, and I championed black music." Ah, the old "some of my best musical influences are black" excuse. Mamas and the Papas. John Phillips was a legend of the 60s music scene, serving as the main songwriter behind the Mamas and the Papas. But if his daughter, Mackenzie Phillips, is to be believed, there were dark doings happening behind the happy facade of pop stardom. In her autobiography, High on Arrival, she recounted taking a bunch of pills on her wedding night and then waking up from a blackout to find herself in the middle of the act in bed with her father. Mackenzie, a sitcom star from the CBS hit One Day at a Time, claimed the relationship eventually became consensual, lasting 10 years. If her 2009 appearance on Oprah is any indication, John Phillips was a deeply disturbed man who put his daughter through hell.
Here's the deal. Hurt people hurt people.
The Who. If anyone lived fast, it was The Who's Keith Moon. He was buried young, and he also left another corpse in his wake. In 1970, the legendary drummer was responsible for the passing of his driver. According to Rolling Stone, the trouble started with a drunken bar fight with a group of skinheads. Moon and his friends piled into his car, and in the chaos, the driver was knocked to the ground, leaving a panicked, drunken Moon to take the wheel. That's when he unintentionally drove over his driver, crushing his skull. Moon was later cleared of all charges, with the judge coming to the conclusion that he had, quote, no choice but to act the way he did. Aerosmith. Julia Holcomb was 16 when she met Steven Tyler in the fall of 1973 backstage at an Aerosmith concert. As Holcomb wrote for Lifestyle, Tyler was immediately taken with her, insisting she come on the road with him. Since it would be illegal for him to travel across state lines with a minor, Tyler asked Holcomb's mother to sign over legal custody, and she did. Over the next few years, the teen reveled in the rock star experience. She got pregnant without ever quitting her drug habit, and Tyler apparently pushed her to get an abortion. She recalled, "Steven sat beside me in the hospital until it was over. When the nurse would leave the room, he was snorting cocaine on the table beside my bed. He even offered some to me once, but I just turned away, sick inside." She left him soon thereafter, returning to the same mother who had let a rock star adopt her. Holcomb is now a born-again Christian and anti-abortion advocate, so that hardcore rock star lifestyle is behind her, to say the least. Thanks for watching. Click the grunge icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel, plus check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.